Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you find this or when this finds you. Hope you had a great day if you finished. Hope you have a great day if you haven't. And hope you're having a great day if you're in the midst of it. I know it's been a minute since y'all got content from me other than the little short video clips that I've been showing from other people. Decided to just take a break. Well, there's actually a 5-part video series that I haven't decided what date I'm going to upload it yet, but when I do, it's going to be I'm going to upload all 5. I mean, they're already uploaded. It's just a matter of making them public. Uh, and it's going to be a very touchy subject. And that subject is the role of the pastor, even biblical. And, I won't spoil it. I'll just let you wait for that to come out. But today, for this particular video, we've been hearing a lot about and everybody wants to make it seem like black folks have been the largest benefactors of DEI. And I'm going to shoot a few holes in that. And, DEI stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I'm going to call this lack of diversity, lack of equity, and exclusion. See, I'm getting ready to share a lot of stats about race, you know, and I know what I'll probably hear is whites are a larger percentage of the U.S. population, so these numbers would make more sense. Well, personally, I don't believe in the numbers they tell us. During slavery, they said blacks made up about 12 to 13% of the population. And today, you know, what is it, 1865, 6500, so 160 years later, they're still telling us we make up 13% of the population. That means going by the numbers they keep, we have had no population growth. And so you think about at the rate the population grew from back then to what it is today, and you still telling us we're only 13% of the population. I ain't buying it. How is that even possible? Because right now our birth rates continue to increase while the white birth rate continues to decline. And see, we just have to call it what it is. It's white supremacy. And I don't use that word too often. I hardly ever use that two-word phrase, white supremacy or white superiority, but I will use it, because sometimes you just have to call stuff what it is. See, the great majority of I'm getting ready to share has to do with skin color, and the rest is going to be nepotism. Now, take your time with this information, and maybe even get you a pen and paper so you can do your own homework. The black politicians, but it is still a minority in the grand scheme of things. Have your black politicians done anything to uplift black America? Anything? Just name one thing. It shouldn't take you long to answer no. You know why? See, if you read your Bible, and I'm not saying you have to believe in what I believe in all that, but if you can read in the Bible, you will see that there was a group of people back in the day called Herodians. Herodians worked on behalf of King Herod. What is Herod Antipas or something like that? I can't remember the second part of his name, but they worked on behalf of King Herod Antipas, the government, and that's exactly who your black politicians are today, modern day Herodians. You see, right now, Congress is 77% white. Governors are 96% white. 100% of your top military advisors are white. U.S. presidents have been 98% white if you ignore the ancestry, the others with white ancestors try to hide. Vice presidents have been 98% white. The current presidential administration is 100% white. In the C-suite positions, that's your executives and CEOs, COOs, CFOs. 90% of them are white. 70% of venture capitalists are white. 87% of angel investors are white, and angel investors are people that invest in companies that they, kind of believe in that might be lacking funding and things like that. 80% of your foundations have white CEOs. 91% of the boards of those same foundations are white. According to the FAA Diversity Board, 94% of airline pilots are white. 84% of airplane mechanics and technicians are white. 83% of airline engineers are white. 73% of all air traffic controllers are white. 76.1% of chief diversity officers are white. And, I ain't even got in everything yet. That's just the start. White women are the biggest benefactors of DEI and affirmative action programs. Now, that's according to the U.S. Department of Labor, not me. 44.6% of SNAP recipients are white, welfare, while 27% are black. But if we listen to white people, black women are the largest welfare recipients and demographic in this country. They love to put a black woman on social media or television or something, trying to promote her as the welfare queen. I don't know if y'all saw the video here recently about the white woman who bought her 2024 BMW. She's making significant income on TikTok. She was getting $4,000 a month in food stamps alone. Us as taxpayers were paying her rent. She was only paying like $8 a month in rent. And somebody reported her. And she's talking about, how I go from $4,000 a month in food stamps to $70. And why do I have to pay $95 in rent instead of $5 now just because I like to drive a nice car and I'm making money on TikTok? White woman. But when we look at things, everything is always made to seem like it's black people. And I've been very critical of my own people more than anybody. You go back and listen to some of my old videos, I've got on our people big time about a lot of our behaviors. But we still pale in comparison to what whites have done. And, I've told y'all before, I love people that going in the same direction. If you doing something that goes against what I believe in, I don't have nothing to do with you regardless of what your color is. I ain't standing with you even if you black, if you doing something against what's beneficial. The New Deal, FDR's New Deal, discriminated against blacks. The Federal Housing Authority discriminated against blacks. The Social Security Act didn't even apply to jobs that most blacks held at the time. See, most people don't even know that. They just think it came in a bin to help everybody. No, the New Deal policies were excluding blacks at every level. That's where your first welfare payments start going to white people. At the local level, the grassroots level. them corporate whites been getting welfare for the longest, and they still getting it. The most recent statistics for child abuse shows right under 195,000 were white and 85,000 were black. That's for 1 year. 57.5% of sexual abusers are white and 16.1% are black. So that throws a narrative out the window that black men are the biggest threat in this category. 74.6% of offenders in child porn cases are white. 53.3% of offenders in cases involving travel for prohibited sexual contact were white. And as I've stated before, the reasons whites don't usually show up as sex offenders is because their crimes get knocked down from felonies to misdemeanors. So it doesn't show that They are the biggest aggressors. There's an article I read not too long ago, and a white guy was saying it's time for white men to own up to what we are doing. It was written by a white guy. And after the first paragraph, he said, I know I've lost most of you white guys already because y'all don't want to be accountable for what we're doing. I wish I'd have saved that article, but I didn't. I don't even remember the name of the guy who wrote it or the site or anything. But they love to say we are the biggest offenders. Like the young man that raped the black college student, the white kid, and the judge said he didn't want to destroy his future potential. So he didn't sentence him to any time, but he raped this unconscious black woman. And that's how they do us. We always get charged with felonies, and white guys get knocked down to misdemeanors. I saw one earlier, and I follow a lot of these stories. And a teacher here in East Texas and her husband were, you know, raping students. And I shared this particular story on social media. And a young lady I went to camp with back in 1986 saw the story. She said, Myron, that was one of the school teachers when I was in school. Retired police officer, 59 years old, just got caught for raping a child over 100 times. $10,000 bond. They say he's probably just going to get charged with a misdemeanor. Guess what color these people are? White. But they tell society that black men are the biggest threat in this category. And society believes whatever the system tells them about black people. So 93.5% of sex offenders in this country are U.S. citizens, which goes against what we keep getting told that most sex offenders in this country are illegal immigrants. Well, in a sense, I do agree that most are illegal immigrants. They just descended from Europe with no papers themselves. They didn't come south of the border, they came across the ocean. Yeah, they're legal immigrants too. See, the majority of arrests made for sex offenses and rapes are of white men. Almost all of the majority owners of the NFL are white. Most law firms are owned by white males. The majority of NBA teams are owned by whites. Amazingly, whites make up the smallest demographic that even watches the NBA. Blacks come first because we love to be entertained. We love to get them momentary feeling between sports and church. That's all we get, this momentary feeling. We feel good. We don't know nothing about the Bible. We don't know nothing about what's going on in our children's school, classroom, but we can tell you what's going on with our son in the stats. We can tell you what's going on with stats in the NFL ranks. We can tell you what's going on with stats in the college ranks. But we can't tell you what kind of grades your kid bringing and getting on a daily, weekly basis at school. But blacks are the biggest viewers of the NBA. Asians come second. And that surprised me when I read that. Hispanics come in third. And, whites come in last place in watching the NBA. I mean, it's straight up garbage to me now anyway, so I don't blame them for not watching because I don't watch it either. In baseball, Major League Baseball, there is only one non-white team owner. The NBA's black employees, the players, they make up 81% of the league. 73% of the NFL players are black. 43% of Major League Baseball players are black. 50% of doctors are white. 5% are black. 80% of lawyers are white, which is a slight decline from the 89% from a decade ago. 5% of lawyers are black. 79% of public school teachers are white. 7% are black. I mean, I would think, personally, I thought it was a lot more black school teachers than that, but, This is a recent stats that I read. 76.2% of mayors in this whole country are white. 3.8% 3.8% are black. 66 what was it 66 or 76% of federal law enforcement officers are white. 10% are black. Amazingly, statistics show that blacks experience the most threats and non-fatal use of physical force during police contact. Now that's according to the Bureau of Justice. Among active judges, whites represent at least 80% of the bench on nearly half of all circuit courts. 10% are black. Across all federal employment taken together, 61.2% are white. 76.8% of fire chiefs are white. 5.8% are black. 68.8% of police chiefs are white. 9.9% are black. 73% of nurses are white. 8% are black. 68.3% of Christian pastors are white. 11.7% are black. 65.3% of public school superintendents are white. 11.1% are black. 78.2% of retail managers are white. 9.8% are Hispanics. Blacks didn't even make the list, while Asians make up 4.1%. Maybe blacks make up that category they said unknown. I don't know. It didn't say. But that's amazing. I worked in retail management for a long time myself. And guess what color most of the managers were? I worked with. They weren't black. 60.4% of prison employees and staff are white. 21.5% are black. Isn't it amazing that the only category we come close to whites is in managing prisoners? 69.9% of physical therapists are white. And I mean, talking about prisoners, I had a lot of family members work as prison guards. I had a lot of buddies that were prison guards. But 69.9% of physical therapists are white. And now they've made it where just to be a physical therapist and work in a company, you need a PhD. A PhD for physical therapy. Are you kidding me? Physical therapy. 3.6% of physical therapists are black. 80% of chiropractors are white. Blacks don't even show up on the list. 77.5% of nurse practitioners are white. 4.7% are black. 67.9% of engineers are white. Once again, blacks didn't even make the list, and the cutoff is 4.1%. Other demographics. Yeah, I know some black engineers, but they didn't even make the list. 61.1% of accountants are white. 8.6% are black. 72.7% of college and university presidents are white. 13.6% are black. And we have to be honest right there, because of the number of HBCUs, you got to know that the HBCU presidents are all black. So that actually is what's helping the number in that category. 79.6% of school principals are white. 9.4% are black. 1.6% of Fortune 500 CEOs are black. And when I looked it up, it said this is an all-time high. Is that something to be happy or proud or excited about? What's 1.6 times 500? Well, so 5 and 2, that would be 10 CEOs. So at 1.6, we're looking at roughly about eight black Fortune 500 CEOs out of 500. So you got 492 people that ain't black that's still running Basically, the top 500 companies in this country. 67.1% of entrepreneurs are white. 6.3% are black. Where did our entrepreneurial spirit go as a people? I'll tell you where it went. We allowed black men and women who were chosen by white America, who had a lot of degrees but no financial or economic fruit on the tree. We allowed them to tell us to pursue degrees instead of economics. And we're still fighting that mindset right today. 53.2% of scientists are white, 6.5% are black. 75.4% of occupational therapists are white, 4.9% are black. 65.1% of nutritionists are white, 9.5% are black. And look at the health of this country. 68.5% of marriage counselors are white, 7% are black. I want someone to tell me, like my auntie say, one more again, tell me again, how diverse this country is. Everything significant in the economic, the planning, healthcare, justice, education, crony capitalism, prison reform, spiritual health, and relationships are all controlled and dominated by one group of people whose ancestors came here illegally. Every last one of them. Yet the great majority of them say this country is not racist. This country was built on racism. This country still operates on racism. A lot of them say they didn't own any slaves, so they're not responsible for what their ancestors did. Have you asked for forgiveness and repented for your ancestors? If not, you will also be punished for your ancestors' sin. That's not my words, that's right out the Bible. And see, in Deuteronomy 5 and 9, it reads, don't worship or serve idols of any kind, because I am the Lord your God. And I don't believe in really saying Lord and God no more, but I'm just using that for y'all because the Bible I read says El and Shaddai. So, but I'm just going to go with Lord your God. I hate for my people to worship other gods. People who sin against me become my enemies, and I will punish them and their children, their grandchildren, and even their great grandchildren. Now, how many Christians believe in slavery? How many Christians, white Christians, believed in white supremacy? How many white Christians believed in separate but equal facilities? How many white Christians gave us their interpretation, as faulty as it is, of the Bible? And you want to sit here and talk about how godly you are, how godly your ancestors were? And Deuteronomy 5 and 9 say, no, y'all serving other gods. And some of you may be saying, what idols did my ancestors worship? Well, I'm going to only mention one because of this video. And that idol, that God, was and still money. See, you may not have participated in your ancestors' sin directly, but some of you have received promotions on jobs when you knew a black person was more qualified. But you took the promotion anyway, you took the raise anyway, and you never stood up for that black coworker. There's no way you could have listened to this entire video, and this was a quick one, and think we are living in a country that is fair and equitable for all. I'll talk to you later.